Hello and welcome. My name's Vicki. I'm the Conscious Mystic, and welcome to another edition of the weekly forecast. I am back home in the burbs, and so there's normal suburban stuff going on around me, as you can hear. You can probably hear birds and motorbikes and so on. So life goes on, doesn't it? It's not the outback anymore. So we are going to do the weekly forecast for week commencing 12th of September 2022. I'm going to be using my deck, the Mythic Tarot, and I'm going to choose 6 cards and provide some guidance from those cards for the week using a particular spread that I like. It gives us a bit of a nice narrative and like a nice little story. We get to weave a nice story around all of that. So I'm shuffling the cards as we speak. I don't know what's coming up. I'm going to choose 6 cards. 1, 2, 3. Hope you had a great week. I went off to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival today in Brisbane. That is around Australia on the eastern side of Australia, like a collective of spiritual vendors, teachers, readers, and so forth, and all showing what they do, what they sell, and their modalities and their wisdom. That was quite interesting. It was actually very, very good. Caught up with some friends. I popped some pictures up on social media a bit later during the week as well. It's been really fabulous. So let me just check. 1, 2, 3. I have 6 cards. Right, so let's begin. The first card we're looking at is where the self is at, where we are in ourselves. We've got the 2 of Swords. 2 of Swords represents the part of us that is really, as you can see in the picture, just drowning out the noise, the external noise. So it's a sign of maturity that we have come to a point where we're ready to make those decisions based on our own understanding of things, our own values rather than beliefs. So where we've sought counsel from those that we considered who had the answers, or perhaps were of a higher standing in our own mind, that doesn't exist anymore. Those people have moved on, and so therefore we are trusting and learning to trust more of ourselves. It can be a bit of a wrench, as you can see, to block those external voices out. It requires a separation, so it can be a bit tough, because when we start to realize that those that we gave a lot of power to or a lot of credibility to no longer hold that higher, we don't hold them in such high esteem. It's a grieving process of separating and cutting the cords from them. So expect a little bit of that. But the good news is that means that we're trusting ourselves, and that those that we held in power no longer have sway over us either. We know this. So that's where the self is at. We're going to have a look at how the soul or the universe is going to help us understand this and reconcile that. So here we have the Hermit, classic. Whenever the Hermit turns up in a spread, it is an indication of a bubble around us where we are integrating our own wisdom. So the universe is going to provide a bubble to separate us from sometimes friends, sometimes family, so that we can have the quiet time we need to integrate those thoughts, integrate those values, and let go of those beliefs. It gives us time to separate all those things that we are ready to let go of. So we don't have to do that. The universe is going to take care of that for us. It feels sometimes a bit weird, because it feels like we're not sort of close to people. It looks like we're deliberately ignoring them, or we just feel a bit distant or detached. But remember the saying, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So just allow yourself to go with it. It's actually a helpful thing. So feeling a little bit isolated, even though you might still be part of the world, you're going to feel that sense of separation or detachment, all perfectly normal. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the challenge, or the things. The challenge is like very much something to face, but when we face it, it's a deep part of us that we're actually separating from, or letting go of, detaching, or coming to terms with, bringing to a truth to something that's been, we've been repressing and it's actually been holding us back. So bringing it up into the light, facing it, accepting it and seeing it for what it is, the truth of it is, it allows us to move through it, and we grow stronger from it because that no longer holds sway over us. So what's challenging us this week? Oh, Two of Cups. It's like we want things to be like they used to be. It's really letting go of an ideal about what the past was. So the past is, in this instance here, it's not a romantic ideal, but it's just something that we have probably been waiting to come back into our lives, and we're only now understanding or accepting that that's not going to happen. And again, it's a little bit of a grieving process of separating ourselves from that past. Once we accept the truth of it, it no longer holds sway. So it's in effect holding us in the past at the moment. Accepting it allows that past to be in the past, and we are free from it, untethered, ready to move into the future. So how is that future going to look? First of all, what is our response going to be? Oh, Three of Swords. Wow. Wow. Okay. Oops. So it'll be a bit confronting. We are going to say, like, as much as we are, and it's, again, not going to be necessary, we are uncovering or detaching, cutting cords from those we gave a lot of authority to. We are actually going to be pushing back on that authority, putting it back onto them and saying, I don't need you anymore. So you'll find your voice about how the right words to say it. Now, the Three of Swords, again, a grieving process, very much oftentimes having to bring that hurt into the open so that a healing can take place. So it's not always pleasant. However, you will find, or we will all find, that those words are necessary. They'll be cutting because it is swords. They will be the truth. They will be a little bit hurtful, but not a lie. So we'll be speaking our truth. It's like a quick cut and heal and move on. But there could be just a few fights or arguments or hurt feelings and things like that. However, the reaction or the response cannot take those hurt feelings into account. It must be a quick sever, like a quick cut. Those quick cuts heal quickly. It doesn't drag on. So pretty much we're cutting through the past, but it's going to be confronting. And it will require truth. Sometimes the truth does hurt. The severity, of course, is dependent on how long that authority has been around, how much control they've had over you, or how much control you've had over that, and what you're willing to let go of, or how you're willing to face that. How you're willing to face it, we, you, me, how we're willing to face it, and how much truth we're going to allow to come out. So, just be kind to yourselves, please, and don't give yourselves a hard time if it sort of all comes rushing out. It needs to. It's a purge. Okay, so the next card we're looking at, thank you, Mr. Crow. The next card we're looking at is the possible future. So where are we going to land with all of this once we've done all this? Page of Swords, look at that. All right. I love the Page of Swords. It's like a fresh page or a clean slate. So that all of this sort of purging and grieving and cutting cords and letting go gives the mind a break. It means that the mind has a clear slate to create. There is nothing on that slate just yet, and neither will anything come forward. So I would, as a suggestion, is doing a lot of writing to maybe to facilitate the fallout, like to facilitate the healing of the fallout. Do a lot of journaling so that you can get those random thoughts out and they're not sort of rumbling around in your head. should I have done this? I wish I hadn't said that. The Page of Swords opens itself up to journaling, but just think of it as a clean slate and a fresh start for the mind. So wherever you've been trapped or held by ideas, ideals that you once gave authority to, they are all now being cut free, cut loose. They no longer have the sway or influence that they once had, and we're all going to realize that through that challenge. So we won't have anything to, just remember, we won't have anything to put on that clean slate. So it's just giving the mind a bit of a break. Go out and have some fun and do some fun things to occupy the mind. Read a book, write a journal, all those things that are fun. Do a crossword, whatever it is that you do to give your mind a rest. Okay, what does this mean for our soul selves, like our karmic journey, our spiritual journey? I love this. The sun. So the sun represents a clear goal, a clear path. So in order to facilitate that karmic clear, I'm not talking about, oh, this may or may not happen. Our soul self is ready to shine as the sun shines. Our soul self is ready to present itself as a clear beacon of who we are. And in order to do that, we must go through the grieving process and cutting process, energy cutting process, the thoughts, the beliefs, the values, and bring it back to who we actually are. So in our soul selves, we are revealing our true self, and we are okay with it, because by doing the actions that I mentioned as part of this reading, we are strong in who we are. We understand exactly who we are, and that gives us strength. So our soul self, our spiritual self, will gain strength and real certainty. We won't have to convince anybody of anything. We will be radiating our certainty, our truth, and our beliefs. We won't have to be worried about convincing anybody. We won't have to be worrying about trying to make it okay for anybody. And again, I want to remind you of that saying, those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind. And they will be the ones who will be along for the next part of that journey. Okay, so that's the week ahead. It's going to be interesting. Remember to be kind to yourselves, but it's all so that we can all sit in our truth and shine from our soul selves. That's our karmic journey this week. My name's Vicki Haspels. Thank you for joining me. This is the weekly forecast for week commencing 12th of September 2022. I'm the Conscious Mystic. See you next week. Mwah. Much love from me. Bye. See you guys next week with love from me. Mwah.